AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from downtown Baton Rouge.
Let's ride!
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Muso. And Mr. Toby Tom Blake. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Every Monday after the football weekend, we talk to Peter Burns of the SC Network. Let's do it.
This week in the SEC with Peter Burns.
Unsportsmanlike conduct.
Let's separate the contenders from the pretenders.
Number 11 of the defense. Throwing the LSU player's shoe 20 yards down the field.
With Peter Burns of the SEC Network. Presented by Blue Delta Jeans.
It's just the specificity of throwing it 20 yards down the field. Not 19, not 23. It's exactly 20 yards down the field. Yo, Peter, man, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing? Am I on video today? I have to, does this change anything?
No.
Do I need to put makeup on?
No, you look beautiful. We do have Peter on video. Outstanding audio quality. What mic do you have there? It's a beautiful microphone.
I don't know. I stole it from Doring. He owed me a couple of extra things after the LSU beatdown of Florida. So I don't know. It's some kind of Shure microphone. I have no idea. So it makes me at least sound professional, even though if I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
That's so good. Okay, did you? I have an RE20. I think that might be an RE20. Those are good. Anyway, did you like the hideout play by Oklahoma against Auburn?
Did I like it? It's like saying, do you like driving 80 miles an hour when the speed limit's 70? Yeah, I mean, it's fine as long as you don't get caught. I mean, to a certain extent. I mean, I played it on my show this morning. What's going on is the fact of when you play the audio from Brent Venables on it, he basically it's we weren't going in transition tempo and we lined up right, and then he kind of was like, it is what it is. It kind of basically confirmed that they knew it was operating in the world of gray, and that's why everybody got upset about it.
So good. So I
was like, that was the official welcome to the SEC moment for Oklahoma. Like, look at you, not colored in between the lines.
We ran that play in high school, Pete, a lot. We ran the hideout play, and it always worked. I didn't know that was illegal, so I saw it. I was like, oh, look, the hideout play. And then it was like, it's apparently totally illegal in college football, which is a little bit of a bummer because I love that play.
Well, and Lane, we had Chizik on. Chizik says, yeah, they banned that a couple years ago, and Lane used it last year. And I guarantee you, every single offensive coordinator looks at Lane film and be like, hey, what can I put into my offense at some point? And I guarantee you, Ben Arbuckle saw that play, and now they sold it. And I think the league office, frankly, was just upset that the officials were told about it, knew that it potentially could come up this season. It did, and it led to this issue.
Yeah, I'd be ticked if I was an Auburn fan. Just full disclosure. I love the play, but I'd be ticked if I was an Auburn fan. Did you, aside from that, legitimately, though, did you learn anything about either team from that game?
Yeah, I mean, that Auburn's defense is pretty legit, that they kept them in it. And honestly, that Jackson Arnold reminds me a little bit of Joe Burrow, like with the Bengals. Like, you got all this money behind the wide receivers, but you don't have any offensive linemen.
What a comp.
And that was unfortunate for Jackson. I mean, 9 sacks. It was wild. So, I mean, Mateer's a dude, too. We talked to Molly McGrath on the show and just the interviews that he's had. Like, that dude and the way that's trending is going to be a problem for anybody, much less LSU at the end of the year, where you could have a college football playoff or a berth to Atlanta on the line.
It was a light schedule as far as conference games. The other one that was certainly relevant was South Carolina, Missouri. That felt like a measuring stick game. A couple weeks ago, I asked you, and you were super high on Bo Prabula, and he's obviously been outstanding so far through Missouri's schedule. They're 4-0. But it was one of those games, Pete, where neither team really separated from much of it. Like, what was your big takeaway from that one, aside from obviously Missouri's win and moving to 4-0?
I mean, that it's a situation, and on the other side, Lenoris is that dude, right? I mean, he made some throws that looked incredible. He looks the part. He just doesn't have the weapons around him this year. Not only offensively, they can't run the ball whatsoever, so it's going to make them one-dimensional. But on the other side of it, defensively, they're just not great, and that's a good news for an LSU squad that seemed to kind of finally get it together offensively this weekend. On the other side of it, again, I've been singing the praises of Eli Drinkwitz, and I think what Eli's doing is what Billy Napier did not do. Remember, the first couple of years that Eli was over at Missouri, he was the play caller as well. They went 17-19. And now I want to say the number is like 26-5 since he gave up play calling duties. And go back and look at what's happening in Gainesville right now. Like, they don't know how many players they have. Sometimes they got 10 men on the field for a field goal block. Sometimes they got 13. The offense isn't running. Like, it's a bad situation for both of them.
Yeah, Florida lost to Miami 26-7. The defense kept them in at Miami. Scored 13 fourth quarter points, kind of give them some distance there. I don't know, Pete. They're 1-3. The schedule is what it is. Is there anything notable here with Florida that we should be discussing for the remainder of this year, aside from the obvious?
How much fight that they have? I mean, last year you had leadership like Jack Pyburn. Well, Jack, of course, is now in the 225, right? Like, and DJ was like the new shiny thing, but now, I wonder how much there is a division when you say defensively, man, they're doing all they can, but they finally broke late against a good team. How many of these guys do kind of what Oklahoma wide receivers and offensive linemen did last year, where they knew the game wasn't, or the season wasn't going well, and then magically they're injured, and then they used a 4-game redshirt rule? Like, it's going to be fascinating to see what that roster looks like as they head up after the bye week and they take on Texas out of the swamp.
Peter Burns is with us, courtesy of Blue Delta Jeans, BlueDeltaJeans.com, BlueDeltaJeans.com, most comfortable jeans you'll ever wear in your life. Learn more at BlueDeltaJeans.com. There was a couple of blowouts, Pete. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I just want to ask a question. Can we talk about this guy right here?
I would love to. He's holding
the hard
his
launch.
Ticket.
Have you discussed the hard launch? Is this a real thing?
Are you talking about Witt and Lane Kiffin's daughter?
Yes.
I have no idea. Someone sent
I
me
don't
a photo.
either.
Someone sent me a photo.
I'm just like, is somebody playing 4D chess here, or like what's happening here?
So explain though, because someone just sent me a picture earlier. I'm not smart and I don't follow things like that are hip and cool. So what? So Witt. There's a picture of Witt.
I guess Lane's daughter Landry, and I can't believe I'm a grown ass man talking about this, but yeah, here we are. Lane's daughter posted a picture of her and Witt. I guess, I don't know where. It looked like an LSU apartment. And she's on his lap saying, I'm happy or whatever. And then now Witt has reposted it as well, too. Again, I sound like some 14-year-old, like, gossiping. But I'm like, of all weeks, LSU Ole Miss week. That's interesting.
So do you think that's Lane putting her up to it? Like, let's distract the star linebacker?
All right.
Go get him?
Listen, I've seen too many people in social media world make announcements when they weren't supposed to, sometimes regarding Ole Miss people. So I'm not going to say anything about that. It's kind of a weird deal that it pops up all of a sudden for this week, which adds, by the way, what LSU Ole Miss is now is what I feel like LSU Florida was, where something crazy always seems to happen. Like this thing over the last, couple of years has been wild.
Okay. 2 years. The last time LSU went to Oxford was a despicable football game with the likes of which I hope to never see again. LSU scoring 49 and losing. In regulation, Pete, I never want to see that again. So
never.
I don't think that's going to happen. By the way, what did you make of Ole Miss beating Tulane the way they did?
He's got a dude in Trinidad Chambliss. Like, in the fact, I went on my show today and I had like a one-on-one with Lane. I was like, look at me, like, please. Austin Simmons needs to be your starting quarterback. Like, please, that needs that. You can't Wally Pip this guy. Not fair at all. But Trinidad runs the offense. And again, if I was an LSU fan, I'd much rather see Austin Simmons, as young as he is, as inexperienced as he is, and made a couple of mistakes. He already threw 4 interceptions early than Trinidad. I mean, Trinidad has the arm, has the legs, has a little moxie to him, and more importantly, hasn't turned the ball over. Yeah. So that's a different game now with Trinidad and the way he's played the last 2 weeks.
Can I present one contrasting thought to you? I'm not going to say I strongly believe this. I'm just presenting it for conversation.
Yeah, we're spitballing here. We're throwing things out, see if it's good. All right.
So Trinidad Chambliss was Division II last year, right? Ferris State is where he played.
Yes.
So he goes to Ole Miss. And his first action is against Arkansas, who I think we would agree defensively that's not a very good team. So
correct.
Looks good against a bad defense. Okay. And good, objectively, Lane Kiffin, very good play caller, scheme, all that sort of stuff. Then they play Tulane, where I think it's also safe to say pretty dramatic talent differential with Ole Miss and Tulane. What if I look at it this week and go, okay, well, from Ferris State, Arkansas, Tulane to this LSU defense, by the way, with Blake Baker now having film on you, this may not go great for Trinidad Chambliss, and it may look more like, remember when Costello threw for 600 against LSU and was
right from the jump? He's the next best thing.
Yeah, right?
He's going to be, Cliff Kingsbury and that Texas Tech offense type numbers, right?
What do you think of that thesis? I don't have a strong feeling on it. I'm just curious your thoughts.
Yeah, you could sell me that, and I think there's some of it to say, all right, give me Blake Baker and Witt, and if we get West back, ready for practice, I feel fine. Like, I'll go to war with this LSU defense against anybody in the damn country right now. With that being said, would I much rather have a younger guy who's prone to already showing he can throw some bad picks early in the season? Yeah. So, but either way, again, LSU's ready for that moment. And finally, I didn't get a chance to watch every single snap, but Nuss, outside of a couple of drops, it's probably as good as he looked in a dress rehearsal for a big week.
Bama, Georgia, who do you like? Early pick.
God, is it crazy? I like Bama in this game.
Yes.
Again, it's something about the Bama Georgia matchup. What Kirby's 1-6, but the fact of the way that Joey Aguilar absolutely sliced and diced that secondary, I think Georgia's good, but I think they got some major issues right now. And if things become a little bit of a score fest, I actually like Alabama on the road.
Okay. Do you think it's a score fest?
I think so. Okay. Yeah, I don't think both defenses are great whatsoever. They are going to get what's the kid, Tim Keenan, the defensive lineman back that they didn't have, and Jam Miller. So this will be the first time you really see Alabama, which, by the way, now we allegedly, I don't know, because we released it on Tuesday, we on the SEC network, we may not see Alabama every single year on the permanent schedule.
You're not surprised by that, right?
No, not surprised. And I'm fine with it. I'm disappointed we're not going to see Florida every year. But again, I still look forward to the Ryder Cup, and I get it every 2 years. So, it's not like Georgia, who's never once gone to College Station, and we're not going to see any of these teams. Worst case scenario, we see them the opposite year, and you see them twice in 4 years, home and away. It's as balanced as the league office and the balance as the SEC schedule has ever been, top to bottom, in the history of the conference.
Agreed. Wait, how do I not know this? Georgia's never played at Kyle Field?
I don't believe so. Unless it was a non-con game way back in the day. But
no, since they've been in the league. I don't care about 1962. I'm talking about since they've been in the league. Wow.
Right.
That's
crazy.
Stunning. Yeah, that's why this needed to happen. We need an expanded schedule. This needs to happen for equity and all. All right. Hey, can you talk to Blue Delta and see if they can get us a Peter Burns AFR discount code or something?
Ooh, I think I can. I'll work on that today. I'll tell you what. You do some investigative journalism on the Instagram story and do the TikTok deal. I'll work on the AFR code for Blue Delta.
I guarantee you, when I get home, I'll ask Erica Moscona, and she'll have all of the deets. She's a big. Erica doesn't know anything about football, but she knows about Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, and she knows about Lane and Landry and Juice Kiffin and all that stuff. She's big She knows the
plugged in.
The football adjacent stuff on social media is what she knows. So she'll know all about this, I assure you. All right.
I love it.
Thanks, PB.
See you, buddy.
That's Peter Burns. Get him on Twitter at Peter Burns or X at Peter Burns ESPN. See if we get that Blue Delta discount code. Mostly because I need some new jeans. I lost a lot of weight and I need new pants. And I would like to buy some Blue Delta jeans. And if I can get them nice little discount, I'll do it. So ain't too proud to beg. Ain't no shame in this game. I'm going to break it down and beg like James. Please. Nothing? I can't get any back up there?
I'm with you, man.
You not know what I'm talking about?
I know.
It's a song called Donkey Butt, but just never mind. It's okay.
I wasn't really
locked in. That's
sorry.
fine. You're good. We're brought to you by Parish Construction and Roofing. ParishBuilt.com. ParishBuilt. That's so disappointing. God doesn't know Donkey Butt. Look up Donkey Butt.
I've heard the song. I know
Let
the
me
song.
do my read. Thank you. Look up the break. We'll do it later. Break it down, beg like James also. Parish Construction and Roofing, ParishBuilt.com, ParishBuilt.com. Do business with someone you know, Parish Construction and Roofing. Proud to be an owner in Parish Construction and Roofing with Richard Tilley and Ryan Terrio and Joe Morales and our whole crew. And proud to serve people here in the state of Louisiana. Proud to give back the many opportunities that we've had. Just a couple weeks ago, we did an NIL deal with a couple of LSU women's basketball players, Michaela Williams and Mylasia Fawiley. Love to give back when we can like that. We're sponsors of the Go Red for Women Luncheon for the American Cancer Society. We've done so much for church and schools and civic groups. We love to do that. Our Lady of the Lake Children's Hospital, they're driving the future giveaway. Had the 5 cars parked out in front of the parish office. Our owners work the phone bank as well for the donations. We love being community involved. We love being community oriented. Of course, our Baton Rouge office, our office in Elmwood that services New Orleans. We'd love to help you out as well. Residential or commercial, repairs, replacements. We offer financing. So if you need that roof replacement or if you need to finance your deductible, we can help with that as well. We get so many options. Just let us go to work for you at Parish Construction and Roofing. ParishBuilt.com, ParishBuilt.com. Do business with someone you know, ParishBuilt.com. All right, it's after further review. Thanks, Peter Burns. Appreciate that. Lane Kiffin, by the way, did have an interesting comment on the LSU secondary that they bought in the transfer portal. We'll have Gordon with us, Gordon McKernan next hour. Get some NIL thoughts there with G. Ross Jackson, about an hour from right now as well. Glad you're hanging out. When we come back, how did it get so bad in New Orleans? I have a theory, and I'll lay it out for you next on AFR.
AFR.
GLO, glowresources.com, glowresources.com. They are complete employer solutions. That's Jareth Knockan and the gang over at Glow Resources. They measure themselves by how long the employee they pick stays with your business. That's how they judge their success. And they have a 96% success rate. That's astonishing. 9.6 out of 10 people that they find to work in your business stay. This is not temp staffing. They are finding permanent solutions for your business. And if in the unlikely event that they find someone for your business, any business, any industry, that doesn't stick, they'll give you a prorated refund or find a replacement for free. So what do you have to lose? Start maximizing productivity within your organization. Let Glow Resources help. Check them out online at glowresources.com, glowresources.com. GLO, glowresources.com. Complete employer solutions.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh, we do shutters too.
Yeah, obviously we got to be prepared and put ourselves in the best position to be successful. We got to eliminate all the silly things. We need our guys to just play fast, free, and confident, and we got to get there. And, again, we got to find the formula. We got to look into this film really, really closely and, hold each other accountable. It starts with me again, and we'll find a solution.
Things not going so great for young Kellen Moore in his maiden voyage here with the New Orleans Saints. The Saints were blown out by the Seattle Seahawks on Sunday, 44-13. And I'm not surprised they lost the game, picked them to lose the game, as I'm sure many of you did. They were a touchdown road underdog in one of the, historically, what is one of the tougher places to play, certainly in the last 20 years in the NFL. And this is just not a very good New Orleans Saints football team. So I'm not surprised they lost. I think they're going to lose a lot of games this year. How they lost is the thing that's certainly discouraging because you continue to see a lot of the undisciplined mistakes. 11 more penalties, just an atrocious effort on special teams where you had a punt blocked. You allowed a punt return for a touchdown. You allowed a 60-yard kickoff return, which set up a short field touchdown. You missed a field goal for the third consecutive week. You blocked a punt, but were offsides on the blocked punt, so that was negated. Just a lot of, or field goal, I should say, a lot of very poor play, undisciplined play that go along with being a bad team and one that is also poorly coached. Kellen Moore, after this game, was asked about his team's lack of discipline, and he didn't, unfortunately, have a lot to say about it.
We're not clean enough. We're not clean enough. Too many penalties again, and too many of them that are under our control. There's judgment penalties in every single game, but the ones that we can control, we can't have that. We got to do a better job.
That's always going to be a reflection on coaching and culture and the staff and all that sort of stuff. But I think the big question that a lot of people have right now is how did it get so bad? You can understand as a team is rebuilding, not winning a bunch. But going from a team that isn't expected to contend to a team that is losing as badly as they did on Sunday and is now a 16.5-point road underdog at Buffalo this week, people wonder how did it get so bad? And to me, this is just very obvious. Like, this is the manifestation of what Mickey Loomis has done in New Orleans and built over really more than a decade. And the decisions that they made that put all these into motion. Like, just for example, you have to build in the NFL. You have to build your roster through the draft. It's how you get young, affordable talent. That's what happened for New Orleans in 2017 when they drafted Marshawn Lattimore and Alvin Kamara, who both were the NFL Rookies of the Year on their respective sides of the ball. You drafted Ryan Ramczyk, who became a perennial All-Pro at the time, was the highest-paid right tackle in the NFL. You drafted Marcus Williams, who was a starter, Alex Anzalone, who was a key player, Trey Hendrickson, who became a starter. Like, you ended up drafting 6 really key players in one draft, and boom, you were a contender again after missing the playoffs 3 consecutive years. Well, how did you miss the playoffs 3 consecutive years? We'll go back and look at those drafts. In 2014, you drafted Brandon Cooks, Stanley Jean-Baptiste, Kyrie Fort, Vinny Cincinnati, Ronald Powell, and Tavon Brooks. The only guy in that whole draft class that became a pro was Brandon Cooks. And you traded him after a couple of seasons. In 2015, Andres Pete, Stephon Anthony, miss. Haoli Kikaha, miss. Garrett Grayson, miss. P.J. Williams, miss. Davis Tull, miss. Tyler Davison, miss. Damian Swan, miss. Marcus Murphy, miss. You missed on everybody. Even your first-round pick, Pete, who you drafted to be a tackle, ended up playing guard because he couldn't play tackle. 2016, you hit on Rankins, Mike Thomas, Von Bell, David Onyemata. Daniel Lasco was your other draft pick. So you had some talent there, an infusion there, and then 2017 happened the way it did. And my feeling then was, okay, they had brought in Jeff Ireland. They have this draft class. They get the benefit of the doubt. Well, look at what's happened subsequent. In 2018, Marcus Davenport, Traquan Smith, Rick Leonard, Natrell Jamerson, Cameron Moore, Boston Scott, Will Clapp. A disaster of a draft class. A year later, you don't have a first-round pick because you traded up for Marcus Davenport. So you take Eric McCoy, C.J. Garner-Johnson, Saquon Hampton, Alize Mack, and Caden Ellis. McCoy became a starter for you. Garner-Johnson was a very good player, but you ended up trading him, and you missed on everybody else. Ellis, who became a player, ends up playing for Atlanta. In the COVID year, you make 4 picks. Cesar Ruiz, Zach Bond, Adam Troutman, Tommy Stevens. Bond's the worst starter, Ruiz is the worst starter at his position in the league. Bond could never get on the field for you. He goes to a good organization and ends up being a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Troutman was a bust with you, and Tommy Stevens didn't make the team. 2021, you want me to keep going? Peyton Turner, Pete Werner, Paulson Adebo, Ian Book, Landon Young, Kawan Baker. You bust on Peyton Turner. You hit on Pete Werner and Paulson Adebo, but Adebo is now with another team, and the second half of your draft was a disaster. Olave Penning, Alante Taylor, DeMarco Jackson, Jordan Jackson. Olave's a number 2. Trevor Penning can't stay on the field. Alante Taylor is probably playing out of position. You want me to keep going? 2 years ago, Brian Brzee, Isaiah Foskey, Kendre Miller, Nick Saldiveri, Jake Hainer, Jordan Howden, A.T. Perry. Your drafts are disasters. That's why your roster stinks. You continue to draft poorly. Well, who's in charge of the draft? Your general manager is. So you draft poorly. You don't respect your future draft capital because you keep trading it away. You combine that with an atrocious approach to the salary cap where they are perennially kicking the can down the road, which now is starting to rectify because you're getting some of those awful contracts off the books because of a hard reset. And so when you look at the fact that you've been awful in the NFL draft, so you've not had good young talent on affordable rookie deals. You made zero investment in your quarterback. Obviously, literally, the New Orleans Saints, per percentage of the salary cap, have the smallest investment in the most important position in organized team sport as any team in the NFL right now at quarterback. You've been awful in the draft. You've been awful on the offensive line, despite your investment in the offensive line with 4 first-round picks on your offensive line. That's still one of your worst units. So despite the fact that you've invested there in the draft, you've missed, you've drafted poorly, you've developed poorly. And then you got a general manager that's comparing the likes of Dennis Allen to Chuck Noll, Tom Landry, Bill Belichick, and Bill Walsh. He's delusional. You've got a delusional general manager that thinks he's doing everything right, despite the fact that I just read for you a decade worth of crap in the NFL draft, an approach to the salary cap, which literally none of the other 31 teams use, but I'm sure he's got it all figured out, right? None of the other 31 teams use that approach because it hamstrings your ability to sign free agents, sign your own free agents, and you've misevaluated your talent as well. I just mentioned Zach Bond. You want to go down the list of guys who were in New Orleans that you chose not to pay and had to go elsewhere? You didn't pay Marcus Williams. You suck at safety. You didn't pay Trey Hendrickson. You have no pass rushers. Like, they've evaluated their own talent. They've given bad contracts in free agency. They've drafted poorly. They've mismanaged the quarterback situation. The Derek Carr deal and subsequent restructures were an abject failure and disaster, which hamstrings you. It's all why you're in the situation you are. You draft poorly and you have no money to spend in free agency. Nobody wanted to come coach your team, so you're left with a 37-year-old first-time head coach who seems like he's in over his head, coaching a talentless roster that doesn't seem like they're interested in listening to him or being any better, which is why you see the undisciplined penalties and the awful performance that we did on Sunday in Seattle. My only hope for this team is that eventually Gail Benson recognizes just how awful this product is, and the architect of this awful product is Mickey Loomis, and she moves him out. Now, I understand that years ago when Rita and Gail were feuding, there were lines drawn in the sand. And those in the organization that sided with Gail Benson, when she won, they were made men. And Mickey Loomis is in that number. It's why he's never going to get fired. I get that. But can we move him out of the general manager role into a spot where he just sits in the suite, eats popcorn like the owner in Rookie of the Year, where he's fired up about getting a ring in a Cracker Jack box, but he's not actually doing anything? Like, can we have that reality with Mickey Loomis? Let him hang out. Let him smack his gum. Let him go down on the field before the game. Let him sit in the suite. But get someone in there who actually has some creative ideas about how to move this organization forward in a fiscally responsible manner. Someone who has a better eye at not only evaluating talent, but coaches and talent evaluators to bring on staff to be able to draft better. Like, I'm not crushing the guy because of one bad draft. I just went back to 2014. With the exception of the 2017 draft, it has been a disaster. And he keeps trading future assets. That's how it ends up the way it is right now in New Orleans. It's him. And with every passing day, every passing year, as the sample size grows, you continue to realize that the success the New Orleans Saints organization had was solely on the shoulders of Sean Payton and Drew Brees, and that Mickey Loomis was just riding sidecar. And the second they were gone, his incompetence has been exposed, which is why they were terrible before Payton and Brees, and they're terrible again now without Payton and Brees. Because he, Mickey Loomis, is a bad general manager. I would argue the worst general manager in football because of the now 2 different stints sandwiched by this incredible era of Peyton Brees to display his incompetence without them. Before, Yale's got to do the right thing. It's really their only way out of this. Because as long as he's in that role, they'll never win again. So, just wait it out. All right, it's after further review. We're brought to you by Our Lady of the Lake, championship health partner of LSU Athletics, olrmc.com/LSU. You want to learn more. olrmc.com/LSU. We like to say Our Lady of the Lake and LSU. Together, we roar. Yes, the championship health partner of LSU Athletics, the physicians at Our Lady of the Lake, they care for the LSU student athletes, but also the students there on campus as part of there with the Student Health Center. And everyday champions like you and me, whatever it may be. If it's at the Our Lady of the Lake Regional Medical Center, if it's the Our Lady of the Lake Children's Hospital, if it's cancer services, if it's stroke, if it's heart health, they do it all at Our Lady of the Lake. And their partnership with LSU is incredible. You see the Garrett Nussmeier ads and billboards and TV ads and radio ads all over now. They've done incredible NIL opportunities to further their partnership with LSU and LSU Athletics. Such an integral part Our Lady of the Lake is. We're talking about the naming rights for the new basketball arena, which we sure hope is going to be pushed through soon. A lot of that red tape will get cut out, but it's Our Lady of the Lake. Championship health partner of LSU Athletics. Our Lady of the Lake and LSU. Together, we roar. Okay, it's after further review. Speaking of NIL, a lot of that stuff, Gordon will be with us here in about 25 minutes from right now, top of hour number 3. Let me knock out a break. We'll have a quick segment. I do want to talk about the future of SEC football scheduling. The future SEC opponents were leaked earlier today. By now, you've probably heard LSU, Alabama, not going to be an annual opponent anymore. I don't think that's a great surprise. We'll explain why next on AFR.
After further review.
Man, hoping we are going to get a little bit of a cold front coming here soon. Might get that cold snap. Get this start feeling more like fall. But as of right now, it's still 89 degrees today in Baton Rouge, despite the fact that we're moving toward the end of September. If you have an issue with your AC, our friends at River City's 1 Hour Air would like to help. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side. As a matter of fact, last week, I was over. I brought Drew to visit my parents, and we pull into their neighborhood. And right when you pull in the neighborhood, the second house on the right, there was a big River City's 1 Hour Air van parked in front of the house. And this was notable because it was 8 o'clock at night. I got home, ate dinner, fed Drew, and then brought him over to my parents. They live near us for a quick visit. 8 o'clock at night, pulling in the neighborhood, there was a 1 Hour Air van. I tell you all the time, nights, holidays, weekends, they'll always come out. Nights, holidays, weekends. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and we do shutters too.
Bye-bye, Bama! But now you probably heard the future SEC football annual rivalries, as they're calling them, have been leaked. So we know the 3 opponents that LSU will play on an annual basis under the new 9-game SEC schedule. And there is no Alabama. That, of course, would be the most noteworthy thing here. For LSU, their 3 permanent opponents are Ole Miss, Arkansas, and Texas A&M. If you want to see the entire grid, we've got it up at all the LouisianaSports.net and 104.5 ESPN social medias. And the article is up as well at LouisianaSports.net. But Ole Miss, Arkansas, Texas A&M are the 3 permanent opponents that LSU will play, or annual rivalries, as they're calling them now. If you're not familiar how it's going to work, just very quickly, I'm sure many of you are, but if you're not familiar how the scheduling will work. So starting in 2026, next football season, each team will have 3 annual rivalry games, 3 annual opponents. And then you'll play 6 other games in the league. And then the following year, you'll play the other 6 teams that you didn't play. Then after that, you'll go back to the first 6 and flip the home and away. And then the second 6 flip home and away. I don't know if that makes sense. But effectively, you'll play your 3, then 6 more. The 6 you don't play, you'll play the next year along with your 3 permanent opponents. Next season will be fascinating for LSU because they do have Clemson coming to Baton Rouge. So remember, with an uneven number, half of the league will play 5 home league games and half the league will play 5 road league games. Will LSU get 5 home SEC games in a year where they're also going to play Clemson in Baton Rouge? That remains to be seen. I would assume not, but we'll find out on Tuesday. So remember, what we're going to find out with the schedule on Tuesday is who LSU and all 16 teams' opponents will be next year. We're not going to have the schedule. They'll release the schedule in December during the schedule release, but we will know the opponents. So we'll know the 9 SEC opponents that LSU will play in 2026, and based on that, you could start to put out the future schedules for the next 4 years and know what it's going to look like. Obviously, the big question here, the big issue is no Alabama, but also no Florida and no Auburn, no Mississippi State. When you talk about the teams that LSU's played the most in its history, it's Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Tulane, Alabama are in that mix. And so a lot of your most commonly held opponents you're not going to face on an annual basis anymore. So I look at it as a plus. For me, I look and say, if the objective is get to the college football playoff, what's the most navigable path that you have? Understanding that when you play 9 SEC games and a Power 4 non-conference, nobody is going to have an quote-unquote easy slate. There may be years where things happen cyclically, right? There may be a year where last year Mississippi State was 2-10. They were winless in the SEC. Kentucky was a 1-win SEC team. Like that can happen. There can also be years where Mississippi State has Dak Prescott and they go 10-2. Their Ole Miss historically is a doormat. Under Lane Kiffin, they had their first ever 10-win regular season in program history. So they're a little bit of an uptick inflection point. But you look and say, okay, what teams historically invest in their program to be good consistently? Well, Alabama and Florida and Auburn are in that number. Mississippi State and Ole Miss and Missouri and programs like that aren't. So when you look at LSU drawing Ole Miss, Arkansas, and Texas A&M, who's not been able to get out of that rut of 8-4, Arkansas, who's about to fire their coach, and Ole Miss, who just historically doesn't sustain success, I think it's a good draw for LSU. You may ask why Alabama and LSU aren't going to play every year. Well, it's pretty clear that Alabama was lobbying not to play that game, not because they didn't want LSU on the schedule, but because they were looking for a fair and equitable schedule. You knew Alabama was going to play Auburn, and you knew Alabama was going to play Tennessee. And there was just no way, we talked about this forever, there was no way the league was going to saddle Alabama with Auburn, Tennessee, and LSU. It would have been the most brutal slate in the conference. And they weren't going to do that to anyone, let alone Alabama. So they didn't. I looked at that. The other things that I was interested in as I looked through this were the contenders. Like, what did Georgia draw? Well, Georgia we knew was going to play Auburn and Florida. Those were a certainty. Well, their third game was South Carolina, a team that at times has had periods of success. Good team a year ago. They had a couple of 11-win seasons under Steve Spurrier, but a team that really hasn't sustained success historically. I looked at Texas. Texas plays Arkansas, A&M, Oklahoma. I think that's really an interesting one as well. To see, you knew Texas was going to play Oklahoma and Texas A&M. Arkansas was the third one that they drew. Oklahoma, I thought was interesting. Oklahoma certainly could have drawn all their old Big 12 foes. They could have drawn Texas, Texas A&M, Missouri. Instead, Oklahoma's playing Texas, Missouri, and Ole Miss. Missouri is the one that drew all their former conference opponents, with Arkansas, Texas A&M, and Oklahoma as their permanent opponents. So I think all things considered, this is about as good a draw, top to bottom in the league, as you could have hoped for. We are getting closer to some semblance of balance and equitable scheduling across the league, which is what you want. I don't love the annual opponents. I think it's stupid and unnecessary, but I'm also coming from a position as a guy who covers, went to, cheers for a school that doesn't have a Texas A&M, and a Ole Miss, Mississippi State, a Florida, Georgia, a Georgia, Auburn. Like, that just doesn't exist here. We have great rivalry games at LSU, but and great games and series that have been played for a long time. But there isn't one that everyone unanimously agrees on, like Bama Auburn. It just, you understand that. Like LSU doesn't have one of those. So how does it work out to where everyone has as equitable a slate as possible? I think this is probably how it has to look. So I think all things considered, they did pretty well. Tennessee probably got the best draw. They play Alabama without Saban, but their other two games are Vandy and Kentucky. So Tennessee probably got away with the best draw of anybody in the league. All right, it's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back. Muse will do Tigers and the Pros. Gordon McKernan will be with us at the top of hour number 3. Ross Jackson will be here as well. We're glad you're with us on AFR.
After further review.
I want you to go to DuplessisBuilders.net. If you're thinking of buying a pool or ever thought of building a pool, go to DuplessisBuilders.net. Get out your phone, go to the website, do it right now, DuplessisBuilders.net. I'm going to tell you why. Because they have a new function on the website where you can pick your pool at the website. And yes, at Duplessis Builders, they will build a beautiful custom pool for you. But if you're not in the market for a six-figure beautiful custom pool, they have other options where you can go choose. You could pick it all online, where you can choose your design options, and boom, you can spit out an affordable pool. So no matter your budget, they have options. They have financing options as well. Yes, they will build you the big, beautiful custom pool over at DuplessisBuilders.net, but they have options for anybody who wants a pool with any budget. So check them out online at DuplessisBuilders.net, DuplessisBuilders.net.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh, we do shutters too.
Wrapping up hour number 2, presented by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, door, siding. Oh, yeah, they do shutters as well. Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Gordon McKernan in about 10 minutes from right now. Right now, Muso as Tigers in the Pros.
Tigers in the Pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
All right, let's start with Grant Delpit because he had himself a whale of a day in the Browns' upset victory over Green Bay. 9 total tackles. That was second on the team. One of those were for a loss. He had a pass defense and an interception that he returned for 25 yards. He was all over the field and a massive, massive part of that huge win for the Cleveland Browns. Shout out, Grant Delpit. The big matchup everybody wanted to see, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. Well, Jets got the better of it on the scoreboard and as well in the stat sheet. 5 receptions for 75 yards, a long of 36 for Jefferson in that game. You flip it over to the other side, Jamar, 5 receptions, 50 yards. He also lost a fumble in the ball game. Neither of them found the end zone. Jamar Chase also had a tackle because Jake Browning threw 2 interceptions. Patrick Queen, all over the field for Pittsburgh, leading tackler on the day, 10 of them, 1 for a loss. Also, 2 passes defense in that ball game. And then a hat tip to his former teammate, Kayvon Chason, on the other side. 3 frog in the throat. 3 tackles, a TFL, and 2 hits on the quarterback.
Paul, you heard that? Frog in the throat.
It was. I don't. I mean,
yeah, right.
That's
frog in the throat.
That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
6 stops for Devin White, 2 for a loss, and a hit on the quarterback.
Conveniently
second leading tackler
right, Paulie?
for the Raiders. He really seems to be settling in over there in Vegas. Fired up for Devin White for that as well, man. And last but not least, Alex Bregman went 2 for 3, both singles, did drive in a run, and also drew 2 walks. Big day for him in a loss for Boston. That's Tigers in the Pros.
Maybe we get him a bottle of Evermore, Paulie.
That could help.
Keep him hydrated over there. Clear the throat from all that smoke's got him coughing over there.
He'll probably need it.
He'll need it.
I ate a protein bar there in the break.
Is that what they call it?
It was still caught in my throat.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Protein bar laced with, well, you know by now. I mean, it's 454, of course. So drink some Evermore, EVAMOR, Evermore.com, Evermore.com. You'll find it at great local retailers. I get pictures all the time on the text line. People out at different stores. Maybe you're in your car driving around, running your sales route, whatever it may be. On a hot day, staying hydrated, EVAMOR. I'm just grateful to everybody who has bypassed whatever their typical traditional bottled water option is. And he said, you know what? I'm going to support a great local company, which is actually a better product as well. Do your research and you'll understand what I mean. EVAMOR, Evamore.com. If they don't have it where you shop, ask them why not. Make them carry it. You can find retailers online that carry Evamore at Evamore.com. You can order it online as well. EVAMOR, Evamore.com, Evamore.com. Hydration for the win. It's Evamore. All right, it's After Further Review, y'all. Monday shows are brought to you by Relief Windows. We're going to knock out a quick break. Ross Jackson had a pretty quick turnaround. He was there at Lumen Field in Seattle yesterday to watch that abomination. Hopped on a plane, was back in New Orleans today for Kellen Moore's media availability. We'll also be with us in 20 minutes to talk about it. When we come back, though, we'll visit with Gordon McKernan. Of course, Gordon's been a great partner of ours here on the show, but he's also an LSU booster. He's very locked in, and this is one of those weeks where Lane Kiffin had some comments earlier today about the money LSU spent, in particular on their secondary. We'll talk to Gordon a little bit about how those deals, some of those deals are put together. We'll do that when we come back after Sports Center here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Supper Club is closed today, y'all. But they'll be back open on Tuesday, ready to roll. Get your reservation. Hey, we got a weekend coming up where the Tigers play at 2:30 and they're on the road. So maybe, how about this for a Saturday night? You wake up Saturday, check off your honeydews. You get home early afternoon, watch the Tigers play at 2:30 against the Rebs. By the time that game finishes, shower up, get dressed, go on over to dinner, wrap it up at Supper Club. SupperClubBTR.com, SupperClubBTR.com for your reservations. Remember, Tuesday to Saturday. They're closed Sunday, Monday, closed Sunday, Monday, closed Sunday, Monday, open Tuesday to Saturday, and you can always get your reservations at SupperClubBTR.com. Of course, the Tigers are on the road this week. Open date next week. Great time, if you haven't yet, to discover Supper Club.